What's up, everybody? This is the Digital World Podcast. In today's episode, I want to discuss a video in which Chris Larsen is being interviewed, and he's talking about where he sees uh, digital assets or where he sees its utility being used in the future, specifically XRP. And I want to also talk about Gary Gensler's confirmation and what that may mean, and then end it with an article by Brian Brooks that he wrote quite a while ago, but it all pertains to what's happening today. Let's get right with it. So listen to what Chris Larsen says. I want to preface it by saying that we know that XRP's utility is going to allow for the movement of all these currencies. And it's going to create a level playing field. And this is what the whole purpose of having the XRP ledger, along with the digital asset XRP, was meant for. Now listen to what Chris Larsen has to say, and many of you have seen this video, but it's gonna all tie in at the end.
Um, but I think then where the digital assets fit in, like things like XRP and Bitcoin, they're kind of in that mid-range. They become, I think, like the Singapore dollar or the Swiss franc, and they become useful in kind of lubricating the world to make it easier for those big four to get in the hands of people all around the world. So that's useful. And then it might also be things like applications and devices that maybe primarily use one of those digital assets. So that's kind of the view we have. So I think in that world, countries should be less threatened by what's going on and see them as simply supplemental rather than a threat. Too much talk about it being a threat.
And it's interesting because we there's this tribalism that's happening, that one is saying, oh, this asset's better than the other, and doesn't work. But when you actually take into account a digital assets utility and see what it can help solve, then that creates a market for it. And if you bring all these digital assets that have utility that can help solve real problems, now it creates a digital world in which it facilitates issues that were once, inefficient, and makes them more efficient. And it's interesting because we have this uh, Gary Gensler confirmation, and it just needs it was approved, and it's going to be sent to the floor for confirmation. Now there's a lot of talk, and obviously we don't know what's going to happen. It seems there's videos of him talking about XRP used as a bridge currency. Then there's other videos of him talking about it being a non-compliant security. What will it be? I don't know. But you have to wonder, based on what Chris Larsen said, that's the real vision of what he sees XRP being used for as a bridge currency. And he sees digital assets having utility to solve real world problems. Now, with Gary Gensler coming in, we got to wonder what's he going to do. But this leads me to my next point. Brian Brooks wrote this article about a year and a half ago, a little under that. America could lead the transition to a digital currency reserve. Now, I want to read these two paragraphs. Yes. Here we go. But the United States should not fight against the forces of globalization that challenge the dollar's reserve currency status. Instead, it must seize the opportunity to incubate technologies that will enable future digital currencies, which should go on to power a transnational currency, perhaps the best next option for a future global reserve. Does that sound anything like anything we know of? Got to tell you, XRP, there's plans for this digital asset. Committing to this course would provide a check on attempts to supplant the dollar's role in the global financial system with other sovereign currencies. hold on a minute. I thought we'd been talking about the dollar using its reserve status because that's the narrative that's been put out there. But he's saying, and Brian Brooks, believe me, I think this man knows exactly what he's talking about. And he's saying here that it could check on attempts to supplant the dollar's role in the global financial system with other sovereign currencies. It would also put the United States at the heart of a more open and equitable financial system. Does that sound like a level playing field? It sure sounds like that to me. Now you gotta wonder, with everything going on, it seems like there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misdirections. And like the digital asset investor says, it's all a smokescreen. It's all an act. And everyone's just players in this world. Now, being able to look past that and look at its real use case, you can't, despite everything besides the price, despite all these articles, despite other people talking about it being dead, you have to wonder, why is this the one that's being sought after? But if it gets clarity first before all other cryptos, then you can expect this digital asset to explode once its use case is being used. Once its utility it's at its full strength. And other assets, they're gonna get they're gonna suffer a lot. So this is setting the precedent for what's to come. It's setting that regulatory framework so that the real use case of these digital assets can be put into action. So know what you own. Know what you own. And despite all the FUD out there, don't let that shake you out because you know what you own. I hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.